pretend to be Egyptology. Philip immediately starts off with bad faith argument. What's that? What do you say again?
Despite it having zero characteristics of actual Egyptian tombs.
Despite it having zero characteristics of actual Egyptian tombs. Sorry, Philip. I'm pretty sure a pyramid is like the most iconic form of Egyptian tomb. You know that the Great Pyramid isn't the only one, right? It's part of a mortuary complex. There's a bunch of pyramids there. It is insane to me that he can just start off by confidently saying something that is like so incredibly wrong. It has absolutely no resemblance to Egyptian tombs. Well, how do I know so much about Egyptology? Well, there was this one episode of Joe Rogan where
In the Valley of Kings, a complex of underground tombs complete with enormous grand entrances and hallways adorned with hieroglyphs, beautiful wall art, intricate architecture.
Dude, absolute fucking sheep. You think that the Valley of Kings has any resemblance to Egyptian tombs? I mean, look at these things. Clearly not tombs.
And here we have the Great Pyramid of Giza. Narrow tunnels, awkwardly angled walkways, and passageways you literally have to crawl to get through. And those wood steps you see, we added ourselves in recent times because they were literally unwalkable when first discovered.
Oh, man. Philip's definition for why something can't be a certain way is just because he has a hard time believing it. We had to add stairs because it was so hard to walk in it. No shit, Philip. It was a tomb. You weren't supposed to walk in it. But, fuck, dude. Modern Egyptologists want you to think that the Egyptians didn't just try and make it as easy as possible to waltz into the king's chamber. So I'm going to boil down what Philip's point is here. He thinks that the Pyramid of Giza isn't a tomb. He doesn't really talk about the other great pyramids, which is weird because, again, funerary complex, but he really seems hell-bent on the idea that the Great Pyramid of Giza is not a tomb for Khufu. His reasoning behind this is, if you look at the Valley of Kings, they found actual mummies in the tombs, they found a bunch of grave goods, they found, hieroglyphics and carvings on the wall, and there was none of that in the Great Pyramid, and therefore it couldn't have been a tomb. You can yet again tell here that Philip has absolutely no expertise in any of this because he is clumping together the blanket term ancient Egypt. There is about a 1,000-year span from the construction of the Pyramid of Giza to the use of the Valley of Kings. This was not just one homogeneous civilization that existed from 3000 BC until the end of the Roman Empire or whatever. The modern idea of ancient Egypt is that it was one civilization that acted the same way the whole time, and they made their little carvings doing this, and that was just it for fucking 4,000 years. Cleopatra was born closer to us living right now than she was to the construction of the Pyramid of Giza. The Pyramid of Giza was ancient to the people of ancient Rome. So, of course, if you have just sort of a surface level understanding of ancient Egypt, you're not going to look at there being a chronological timeline and how the culture changed over time. So, in Philip's eyes, it makes sense that if you look at, where they found King Tut and these very classic Egyptian tombs, they look so much different than the pyramid, and therefore the pyramid couldn't have been a burial structure. But what you're looking at here is a transition of culture and, burial customs changing over time. At the time when the Pyramid of Khufu was built, it wasn't very customary to add carvings inside of tombs. You will notice this in a lot of pyramids, where, well, Philip correctly points out, if you go to the Valley of Kings, you will see lots of carvings on the inside of the tombs. Now, again, I'm not an Egyptologist, so I'm not going to speak like an authority figure of why I know that is, but that is a way that the culture shifted over time. They're also completely different structures. The Valley of Tombs is carved into the ground, while the Great Pyramids are actual fucking mountains that people made. He makes a big stink about the passageways are just so narrow, which A, as I said earlier, it was a tomb, you're not really supposed to go through it, and B, no shit, you are building a mountain of rocks. You don't exactly want to have a lot of hollow space in the middle. There were other pyramids that they built out of mud, I think the Black Pyramid or something, that just completely collapsed while they were building it. They learned pretty fucking quickly that building a massive pile of rocks without the proper support in the middle would be kind of a big problem. God, I wonder why they put all those huge 80-ton stones above the king's chamber. It couldn't have been to disperse weight or anything.
Strangely designed and, although impressive, kind of plain-looking inner chambers. No artifacts, no hieroglyphs, no carvings, no wall art was ever found inside of Giza.
So the argument goes like this. The Pyramid of Giza could not have been a tomb for the pharaoh Khufu because I think it's kind of boring. No, Philip, that's fucking sound logic right there. Are you sure you don't have a degree in Egyptology? Because you really seem to know what you're talking about.
In fact, not a single mummy was found in this pyramid, or any Egyptian pyramid for that matter, and yes, that's a fact. Go search it up.
Whoa. Philip, did you just tell me to actually do research? I thought your whole thing was to dunk on the Google debunker. How are you supposed to be an anti-intellectual when you're telling people to do research? You know what, Philip? I'm going to take you up on that. Okay, so I just did a quick preliminary search of all of the human remains that were found in pyramids in ancient Egypt. Now, Philip, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I am saying that it was kind of stupid of you to tell people to Google something when they could so easily find that you were wrong. I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys. This is a list that I just found on Wikipedia. But Philo is doing well-researched videos. I'm sorry, if I'm talking about a guy who's literally just blowing smoke out of his ass, Wikipedia is a step up, all right? So here you go, Philip. If someone actually do their research and Google what you just told them to Google, they would find this exact same Wikipedia list that I'm going to read to you, right? This is going to be a long one. Buckle in, everybody. Pyramid of Djoser, mummified left foot, disarticulated remains of a female mummy. The Red Pyramid, disarticulated G1A, disarticulated pyramid G1 Pyramid skull fragment. Pyramid of Neferefre, the mummy of Neferefre. Pyramid of a woman. Pyramid of Jakare, double pyramid west. Man, pyramid of remains, identified items of mummy of pyramid identified second and bone fragment. Skeleton of burial chamber of Ot, Nashur, mummy of Ot, burial chamber of holy God, Chen Nefer Hedjet, mummy of Chen Nefer Hedjet, and lastly, pyramid of Amenemhet III.
Dear.
Philip, you baffle me. I don't know how you can spend so much time throwing around the word Google debunker to try and prevent people from doing their own research, but you strike a new low when you actually tell people to research something can be so easily proven wrong. Oh, if you're watching, this is a perfect example of anti-intellectualism, which is something that Philip does in pretty much every single one of his videos. Now, again, being completely candid here, Philip is being a sellout who the Google debunker thing as, a bit of a jab to sort of like rile people up, which, you could argue it worked. But the bigger problem with that is that Philip is actively trying to prevent people from doing research. And the reason that so many of these pseudoscience shills are trying to prevent people from doing research is because if they do research, they will find out that what they're saying is bullshit. So, yes, Philip throws around Google debunker like a half-assed playground insult. What he's really doing is trying to make sure that you don't get wise to the fact that he's just straight up lying to your face. I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, so I'm going to say it now. If you ever come across anyone who tells you not to research something, they are fucking lying to you. Be immensely wary of anyone who tries to tell you not to research things or not to look into facts further, because they have a reason for trying to keep you in the dark.
We're told that they were raided by thieves, and that's why there's nothing left. Really? Did thieves steal the carvings and paint on the walls too?
God, you have no right to do that and that wrong. Really? Did they steal the carvings off the wall? There's a line from one of my favorite movies of all time, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and it's just burned into my mind, and I think it is perfectly applicable here. Should try reading books instead of Philip. You spend so much time discouraging people from using the information that we have at our fingertips. You work harder to prevent people from doing research than you do to do your own fucking research. You're so fucking smug about what, did they steal the carvings off the wall? There was no carvings on the wall in the first place. You would know this if you researched the fucking era these pyramids were made. That was like a hallmark part of these constructions. There was no carvings in them. Because you can't even be fucked to open a search engine, you're just peddling misinformation to 1.5 million people. I'm going to say this a lot in this video, and I promise I am taking this to a place later where I'm actually going to give you, constructive criticism, but as of right now, all I can say is you should be fucking ashamed that you're using your content for this. That said, he also smugly starts this out by saying, they just tell us that all the mummies were stolen. Yeah. Philip, why do you think that they still find mummies in the tombs that are buried underground, but they don't find very many in the gigantic billboard that says, come here for all the rich guys? Have you, ever played a fucking video game or something? If you see some cool thing on the horizon, the very first thing you do is beeline over to it and steal everything. I find it really funny that your counter-arguments for all of the mainstream theories just involve saying what the mainstream theory is in sort of a snarky voice, and then saying, and they really want us to believe that? You got a better explanation, Philip? Oh, well, things about to talk about how the pyramid was a giant power plant.
Really? Did the thieves steal the carvings and paint on the walls too? The sarcophagus in Giza, where they assume Kukul's mummy was kept, and also stolen by those pesky thieves.
Stolen by those thieves. God, you are such a fucking... Alright, Philip, let me ask you something. I'm gonna appeal to whatever logic center in your brain is still firing. If you... Thought experiment here. If you were to put a human mummy in the inside of what was for a very long time the largest man-made human structure on the planet, would you expect it to still be there after 4,000 years? Philip, you have got to be fucking off your shit. Have this persona where you seem like you're kind of the fucking underdog, like the hard truths. But the moment you break past sort of the persona, you just kind of sound like a dumbass. And like, I know you're not a dumbass. We're gonna get into some of your other videos later, but I don't know why this is the persona you've chosen. There's something like cool and controversial about genuinely thinking that a